So before we sketch quadratics, let's go over the key characteristics. So the vertex is always going to be the minimum or maximum point. So on this graph over here, our vertex is at 1, -4. When we're talking about zeros, zeros are just where the function crosses the x-axis. So right here and right here. So my zeros would be at x equals 3 and -1. And then the y-intercept is similar, but it's where the function hits the y-axis. So our y-axis would be right here at -3. Now we're going to go through how to find each of those characteristics without seeing the graph first. So there's two ways we can do this. We can either do it by hand using some formulas, or you can do it using your calculator, and I'm going to show you both. So by hand, we have a formula, x equals -b/2a, which is how we find the x value of our vertex. So if we look at this equation, we have a is 1, b is -6, and c is 3. So I'm just going to plug in to the formula, and we get -6/2 times 1, which it simplifies to 6/2, which just equals 3. So the x value of our vertex is 3. To find the y value, we're just going to take that and plug it back into the equation. So I have y equals 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 3, and then go ahead and simplify it. So 9, 18 plus 3. So y comes out to -6. So our vertex is at 3, -6. You can also find the vertex using your calculator. So the first thing we're going to do is go into y equals, and then go ahead and type in the equation. So we've got x squared minus 6x plus 3. And then we're going to hit the graph button. You can see here that my window's way off, so I'm going to go into zoom and then hit zoom standard, and that gets it back to normal. If you still couldn't see it, you could hit zoom and then either zoom in or out depending on what you needed to do. Next, we're going to go into second and then calc. And we want to hit the minimum because we're looking for that bottom point. And then the calculator is going to tell you to do a couple of things. When it says left bound, you're going to scroll so that you're to the left of the vertex. And then right bound scrolls you to the right. And then it will give you your answer over here, 3, -6, which is what we got. So next we want to find our zeros. Again, that's where the function crosses the x-axis. So to find that by hand, we're going to first set our equation equal to 0. So x squared minus 6x plus 3 equals 0. And then we're going to use the quadratic formula. You've probably seen this before, but we'll go through it again. So we have x equals negative b, remember b was the -6, plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we just need to simplify all of this, which takes a little bit. So we've got 6 plus or minus 36 minus 12 over 2. 6 plus or minus 24 over 2. And this comes out to 0.551 and 5.45. All right, if we go ahead and do this by calculator, then we already have our function in, so you would need to plug it in. And we're going to go back to second calc. And this time we're hitting zeros. And then it's really similar to what we did before. We want to go and scroll till where they're at the left of 0 and then the right of 0. And it's going to give us our x value over here, 0.55. And then we're going to do the same thing again, but we need to get our other 0. So to the left of this one, to the right of this one, and it gives us 5.45. Lastly, we need to find our y-intercept. This one is actually the easiest to do by hand, so I would suggest it, but I'll again show you how to use the calculator as well. So to find your y-intercept, all you need to do is plug in 0 for x, And you'll see that most of it cancels out. So you have y equals 0 squared minus 6 times 0 plus 3. So y just equals 3. So my intercept would be at 0, 3. On a calculator, it's the same kind of thing. We already have our equation in, so we're going to hit second calc. This time I'm hitting value, and I want my value when x is 0, so that's what I typed in right there. When x equals 0, it comes out that y equals 3. So now that I have all of the pieces, it's really easy to do a sketch of this quadratic. So I'm going to start with the vertex and plot 3, -6. So 3, -6 on graph paper. Obviously, it's going to be a lot neater, but we'll work with what we've got. So zeros are on the x-axis. We have 0.55, so that's in between 0 and 1. And then 5.45, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5.5. They don't have to be perfect since they're gross decimals. And then your y-intercept is at 0, 3. And now that we have everything plotted, we can sketch our parabola. And that's it. So in this video, you learned how to find the vertex, both by hand and by calculator. You learned how to find the zeros, the y-intercepts, and then how to put all of that together to sketch a quadratic. Thanks for watching.